ounce of power. Ancient races, millions of years older than humanity, claimed dominion over entire sectors of space. The Cinder Dominion, with their crystalline warships, ruled the core systems with unmatched discipline. The Varkai, a serpentine race of strategists, controlled the outer reaches with a network of spies and assassins. And in between them floated countless smaller empires, all too busy plotting against each other to notice a new fragile species slowly climbing from a blue planet called Earth. Humanity had spent centuries looking up at the stars, building fragile satellites and dreaming of other worlds. They were still primitive in the eyes of the galaxy, soft, chaotic, emotional. Their technology barely matched a single alien scout vessel. Their fleets, if they could even be called fleets, were a collection of patched ships, hot-wired with ingenuity rather than science. And yet, something about humans was different. The first contact came unexpectedly. A Cinder research vessel, the Eclipser, stumbled upon Sol while charting the outer edge. Its commander, High Observer Thralis, scanned the planet with contempt. "Primitive carbon life," he murmured. "Insignificant. They may survive a few thousand cycles, but they are irrelevant." That irrelevance would become the galaxy's first mistake. Humans noticed the Eclipser long before it reached orbit. Not because of their sensors, which were crude, but because of instinct, the kind of gut feeling humans had honed over millions of years of survival. Earth's orbital defense arrays, barely operational and patched together from commercial satellites, powered up. Missile pods lifted from launch bays like startled birds. Captain Alara Vance stood on the bridge of the USS Perseus, humanity's newest frigate, her dark eyes scanning the alien ship through a thin veil of glass. "They think we're weak," she said quietly. "They're about to learn why that's the first mistake anyone makes when facing humans." Her first officer, Lieutenant Raj Malik, frowned. "Our missiles are experimental. Half of them might not even reach the ship." Alara smiled, a sharp, dangerous curve. "Then we'll make them reach. Humans always find a way." The Perseus launched its first salvo. Against the vast Eclipser, the tiny missiles seemed like fireflies against a hurricane. And yet, against alien protocols built for war between perfect machines, fireflies can still bite. The missiles struck in unexpected patterns, exploiting minor blind spots in the Cinder vessel's energy shields. The Eclipser shuddered. From orbit, Thralis could barely believe it. How is this possible? They should not be able to." But he never finished the sentence. The Perseus, using a maneuver no alien had anticipated, a combination of orbital physics, synchronized missile timing, and sheer human improvisation, struck a critical junction. Sparks cascaded across the Cinder vessel. The first victory was small. One research vessel damaged. No lives lost on Earth. But it was enough to send ripples across the galaxy. The humans had fought back. The humans had won. Word traveled faster than light. Across the Cinder Dominion, whispers began. Across the Varkai networks, rumors spread. Earth, humans, they survive. But survival was only the beginning. The galaxy had assumed intelligence was measured by technology. Humans would prove intelligence was measured by adaptability. Within weeks, humanity had built new fleets from scavenged alien wreckage, redesigned their weapons to exploit weaknesses they didn't yet understand, and decoded alien communications faster than any algorithm should allow. Ambassador Kyra Thorne, humanity's voice in the Galactic Councils, stood before the Interstellar Assembly for the first time. Aliens of every shape and hue surrounded her, tentacles waving, eyes blinking, scales glinting, but none expected what was about to come. "You have underestimated us," she said, her voice calm, measured, yet carrying an unmistakable weight. "Humans are not the species to be dismissed. We survive. We adapt. And we will not wait to be conquered." The Varkai delegate hissed through fangs. "You are insignificant. Your planet is a backwater. Your fleets are toys. You speak of threats you cannot even comprehend." Kyra smiled faintly. "Perhaps. But consider this, the galaxy has never seen humans fight for their survival. And survival teaches lessons that intelligence alone cannot." In the shadows of the assembly hall, unseen eyes recorded every word. Some alien powers laughed. Some shivered. And a few, an ancient few who had been observing humanity quietly for centuries, smiled. The humans had arrived. And they were nothing like the galaxy had prepared for. Meanwhile, in the void between stars, Captain Alara Vance watched the distant light of Earth shrinking behind her fleet. She knew the fight ahead would be unlike anything humanity had faced. Cinder warships, Varkai assassins, and fleets of mercenaries would try to crush them. But for the first time, the humans were not just surviving, They were ready to fight not as victims, but as apex predators in a galaxy that had ignored them at its peril. The first strike had been a warning. The second would be a lesson. And humanity was just beginning. The galaxy stirred. Humanity's first victory against the Cinder Dominion had shattered centuries of certainty. Across star systems, alien races whispered, debated, and panicked. The Varkai, whose spies prided themselves on predicting every move of every species, could not calculate humanity's logic. In the core systems, the Cinder High Council convened in urgency. Crystalline towers reflected the light of their twin suns as High Observer Thralis paced before the council chamber. His voice was sharp, cutting through the hum of alien deliberation. They should have been easy prey, Thralis said. One planet, one fleet, and yet they struck. Their weapons, their tactics, they were unpredictable. Calculated yet chaotic. Dangerous. They will not be stopped with conventional methods. A council elder, faceted like living diamond, tilted in thought. We underestimated instinct, not technology. Perhaps it is that unpredictability that makes them a threat. Thralis's eyes narrowed. Then we adapt. Or they will adapt faster than us. Meanwhile, humanity moved quietly but decisively. Captain Ilara Vance led a fleet from Sol toward the outer edges of the Cinder claim systems. The Perseus, once a single ship against the Eclipser, now commanded a flotilla of retrofitted human and alien vessels. Ilara stood on the bridge, watching the stars stretch into streaks as they entered warp. Beside her, Admiral Hiro Tanaka, the tactical genius who had turned scrap into a formidable fleet, studied the holomap. The Cinder will predict our movements based on their doctrine, he said. But humans don't follow doctrine. Ilara smirked. Exactly. They'll think they know us. Then we'll prove them wrong. The first major battle came on the ice world of HFY. Cinder forces, vast and pristine, had positioned themselves to crush any human incursion. Thousands of crystalline warships gleamed against the frozen sky, their energy shields humming in anticipation. But humans fought differently. Using the terrain of the planet, its gravitational anomalies and improvisational tactics, the human fleet split into multiple vectors. Mines disguised as meteorites drifted from orbit. Plasma torpedoes ricocheted off ice cliffs. Human pilots executed maneuvers that defied Cinder strategy manuals. Ilara's voice cut through the chaos. Flank from Vector 7. Do not follow the pattern they expect. The battle was brutal. The Cinder expected a frontal assault. Humans attacked the flanks, striking supply lines and crippling command vessels. Cinder shields, designed to repel measured strikes, failed against the unpredictable bursts of human ingenuity. High Observer Thralis watched in disbelief as his forces faltered. This cannot be. Their fleet is unorganized, yet effective. Meanwhile, in the shadows of the Varkai outer reaches, Ambassador Kyra Thorne communicated with allied races. The humans are no longer just survivors, she said to a council of wary delegates. They are a force to be reckoned with. Any who attempt to dominate them will pay a price they cannot calculate. A Varkai delegate hissed, fangs glinting in dim light. They are young, chaotic, but dangerous indeed. Kyra's gaze remained firm. Exactly. And chaos is a weapon we have never mastered until now. Back on HFY, the tide of battle shifted dramatically. Cinder flagship Obsidian Dawn was struck by a human tactical device. A combination of gravity wave projectors and synchronized missile swarms. It exploded in a cascade of crystalline shards, scattering debris across the icy plains. The human fleet cheered even over comms. Victory, though costly, was theirs. But it was not merely a battle won, it was a message. Humanity had survived. They had adapted. And the galaxy was watching. In the aftermath, the Cinder High Council convened once more. Thralis's voice was grave. They are not just a nuisance. They are evolution in motion. Their unpredictability, it is a weapon we cannot anticipate. A younger counselor dared to speak. Do we negotiate? Thralis shook his crystalline head. Negotiation implies understanding. There is no understanding them. Only containment, or annihilation. And I fear containment is no longer possible. Across the galaxy, other races began to reconsider their strategies. Alliances shifted, old grudges paused in the shadow of a new threat, humans. And humans, unaware of the fear they now inspired, continued to expand, rebuild, and innovate. Back aboard the Perseus, Ilara studied the stars. They think we are reckless, she said. They will learn we are relentless. That is what makes humanity unstoppable. Admiral Tanaka nodded. They will come for us. Every empire. Every fleet. They will underestimate us. And they will fail. In quiet moments, humans reflected on their victories and losses. They mourned their dead, repaired their ships, and trained new pilots with an intensity born of necessity. Each day they learned more about the galaxy and themselves. Each battle sharpened their minds and resolve. And somewhere, in a council chamber lit by stars, a single Cinder delegate whispered to an ally, "We were warned about them and we did not listen." Humanity, maybe the species the universe should have feared. The storm was rising. And humanity was at its center, calm, calculating, and ready to face whatever the galaxy could throw at them. The galaxy was no longer at peace. Humanity's victory on HFY had shattered centuries of complacency. Every major empire now watched Sol with wary eyes. Some feared the humans. Some sought to control them. And some, reckless, arrogant, or desperate, decided to strike before humans could grow stronger. The Varkai moved first. Using hidden networks of spies and assassins, they targeted human colonies in the outer reaches. Their serpentine agents slipped past orbital defenses, assassinating leaders and sabotaging infrastructure. But humans had begun to learn the value of prediction, intuition, and countermeasures. Every strike was met with improvisation. Each time a colony was attacked, the humans responded with a clever twist the aliens never anticipated. Captain Alara Vance stood aboard the USS Perseus, reviewing intelligence reports. Her eyes traced the positions of Varkai strike teams scattered across the system. "They think stealth and precision give them the advantage," she said. "They've underestimated humans again." Lieutenant Raj Malik frowned. "But how do we predict them? They're ghosts. You can't anticipate what is invisible." Alara smiled almost grimly. "Humans anticipate the impossible. That's what they don't understand. And that's why we win." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the Cinder Dominion regrouped. High Observer Thralis convened a war council aboard the Obsidian Spire, their flagship orbiting the molten world of Xeran 4. The council debated endlessly, but Thralis spoke with clarity. "They fight without pattern, without precedent. Our doctrines cannot contain them. And yet," he paused, voice low but icy, "we will adapt. Humanity is clever, but even cleverness has limits. We will test them. We will crush them, or they will crush themselves." The humans did not wait. Through intercepted communications, they discovered a covert alliance forming between the Varkai and a coalition of smaller alien races. The plan was to strike simultaneously at key human strongholds, hoping to overwhelm their defenses. Admiral Hiro Tanaka studied the intelligence holomap, calculating the timing of the attacks. "They believe they can surround us," he said. "They do not realize humans do not fight alone. Humans fight everywhere, and every human can create advantage." Alara stepped onto the tactical platform. "Then we'll give them a lesson. Divide and conquer, but in ways they will never see coming." The first battle erupted over the planet Nares 7, a lush world of emerald forests and deep oceans. Varkai strike fleets dropped from warp, ready to hit the human colony. But humans had planted a trap. Orbital stations, disguised as peaceful research satellites, unleashed gravity wave mines and plasma nets. Asteroids were remotely diverted to crash into enemy formations. The humans' improvisation turned the forested planet into a battlefield of surreal ingenuity. In orbit, Commander Lyra Chen piloted the HMS Resolute, weaving her frigate between falling asteroids, launching missile swarms that struck with eerie precision. "Target their lead vessels," she shouted. "Follow my maneuvers, every ship in formation." The Varkai were taken aback. Their strike teams were meticulous, precise, trained for years, but they had never faced unpredictability at this scale. The human tactics were a storm they could not calculate. Fleets disintegrated. Strike teams were annihilated. And yet, humans did not overextend. Every maneuver had a purpose. Every loss was minimized. Elsewhere, on the Cinder frontier, smaller conflicts erupted. Mercenary fleets, sensing opportunity, sought to claim human territories for themselves. Humanity responded with surgical strikes, disabling enemy fleets without unnecessary destruction, leaving a clear message: they could fight ruthlessly, but with strategy and restraint. Amidst the chaos, the human leaders convened in orbit above Sol. Ambassador Kyra Thorne addressed the Council of Admirals and Captains. "They thought humans were predictable, fragile, and weak," she said. "They thought our world was insignificant. Every move we make proves them wrong. But the galaxy will not stop trying. We must remain 2 steps ahead at all times." Admiral Tanaka nodded. "Which is why we are not just defending Sol or the colonies. We are defending the future. Every strike, every innovation, every sacrifice teaches the galaxy that humans are not to be underestimated. Captain Alara Vance added quietly, and they will remember every lesson, because humans never forget. In the midst of these battles, an unexpected twist emerged. The Varkai, frustrated and desperate, attempted a direct assassination of Alara herself, sending a fleet disguised as a transport convoy. But humans anticipated even this. Decoys, ambushes, and rapid counterstrikes turned the assassination into a trap for the attackers. The Varkai fleet was destroyed, leaving alien leaders shaken. High Observer Thralis of the Cinder Dominion, observing these events from afar, felt the first real chill of fear. This species, it is not merely resilient, he muttered. It is cunning, relentless, and fearless. The universe may have made a mistake. For humans the cost was heavy. Each victory demanded sacrifice. Yet each battle strengthened their unity, sharpened their minds, and proved to every corner of the galaxy that humans were not just surviving, they were mastering war on a level no alien could anticipate. In quiet moments, Alara gazed at the stars. The galaxy thinks of humans as small, insignificant, she said. But it doesn't understand the truth. We thrive because nothing in the universe can truly predict us. And that is our greatest weapon. The shadows of the galaxy stretched long. Alliances shifted. Enemies multiplied. Yet humanity stood at the center, resilient, cunning, and rising. The storm had only begun, and the galaxy would soon learn that humans were far more than anyone had imagined. The galaxy was aflame. Humanity's victories on Kura 5 and Nares 7 had sent shockwaves through centuries of interstellar politics. Former rivals paused their feuds to watch the rise of a new force, one that did not obey tradition, reason, or protocol. Humans were unpredictable, adaptive, and frighteningly effective. But predictability was the only thing the galaxy had left to cling to. The Cinder Dominion, humiliated and fearful, orchestrated a coalition of alien races to crush humanity once and for all. Over 100 fleets converged on the Sol sector, each filled with warships more advanced than anything humans had faced. Energy shields glimmered, plasma cannons hummed, and cruisers the size of moons positioned themselves in tight formations. The galaxy expected the humans to crumble. But humans had anticipated this. Captain Alara Vance stood on the bridge of the USS Perseus, now the flagship of a growing human armada. Beside her, Admiral Hiro Tanaka ran simulations across holomaps that stretched across the bridge like a tapestry of war. "They've gathered everything they have," Tanaka said, voice low. "Every fleet, every weapon, every plan. They think sheer numbers can overwhelm us." Alara's eyes glinted. "Then let's make them regret that assumption." The humans struck first, not in brute force but in precision. Using gravity wave projectors, they distorted the trajectories of cinder cruisers, sending dozens tumbling into asteroid belts. Warp tracking devices allowed human pilots to appear suddenly in the middle of enemy formations, striking critical junctions before slipping back into the void. The battle erupted in orbit around Sol itself, painting the darkness of space with fire, plasma, and explosions. Alien fleets, confident in their superiority, were disoriented by tactics they had never faced. Humans coordinated seemingly impossible maneuvers, turning chaotic skirmishes into deadly symphonies of strategy. Amid the chaos, Ambassador Kyra Thorne broadcast a message to the coalition fleets, her voice calm yet commanding. "You have underestimated humans. You have counted us weak, predictable, fragile. But we survive. We adapt. And we fight in ways the galaxy cannot anticipate. Withdraw, or watch your fleets fall one by one." The Varkai Admiral responded, his hissed words laced with venom. "You are foolish, human. You fight without honor, without pattern. You will die." Kyra's calm smile held steel. "Then we will die, and rise again, smarter, stronger, faster." The first shock came from an unexpected quarter. Mercenary fleets, allied with the Cinder only for profit, attempted to switch sides mid-battle. Humans, however, had anticipated betrayal. Decoy transmissions, hidden strike teams, and synchronized ambushes turned the mercenaries' treachery into a trap. Entire fleets were destroyed before they could fire a single salvo. On the front lines, Captain Alara Vance faced the Cinder flagship Obsidian Spire, now a behemoth bristling with weapons. She calculated her moves with surgical precision. Using a combination of misdirection, planetary gravity slingshots, and human intuition, she led a strike team that bypassed the ship's shields entirely, targeting its core reactors. Explosions cascaded across the spire as it disintegrated in a blaze of crystalline fragments. The human fleet erupted in silent triumph. High Observer Thralis, observing the carnage through the remnants of his fleet, felt disbelief turn into fear. This species, it is not merely resilient, he whispered. It is evolution. And it is relentless. The battle continued across multiple systems. Humans fought on ice worlds, desert planets, and dense nebulae, each time using their environment as a weapon. Asteroids became projectiles, storms became cover, and gravitational anomalies became traps. Every human pilot, every soldier, every tactician proved that ingenuity, adaptability, and raw determination could overcome numerical and technological inferiority. Amid the chaos, a shocking twist emerged. One of the galaxy's oldest empires, the Clothy Ascendancy, attempted a surprise strike on Earth itself, believing humans too occupied to defend their homeworld. But humans had anticipated the possibility. Hidden fleets, cloaked stations, and decoy transmissions awaited the Clothy. The surprise became a catastrophe for the attackers. Their fleet was decimated before they could breach the Sol system. Captain Ilara Vance, standing on the bridge of the Perseus, looked at the starfield littered with wreckage and explosions. They think we fight in predictable ways, she said quietly. But humans, we fight everywhere. All at once. And we never stop learning. Admiral Tanaka nodded. Every strike, every loss, every victory teaches the galaxy a new lesson. They cannot anticipate humanity because we are not predictable. We are apex. The aftermath of the Sol campaign left the galaxy shaken. Former enemies paused their expansion, diplomats scrambled, and spies whispered warnings in every system. Humans, they are unstoppable. And humanity, though battered and scarred, stood stronger than ever. The war had forged them, tempered them, and revealed the apex qualities of their species: resilience, ingenuity, cunning, and a relentless will to survive. In the quiet of space, Ilara gazed toward Earth. The stars stretched infinitely, but humanity's place among them had been claimed, not through sheer numbers, not through overwhelming technology, but through the essence of their nature. The galaxy had finally begun to understand. Humans were not just another species. They were the species the universe had been warned about. And the crucible of stars had only just begun. The galaxy trembled. Humanity had not only survived the Sol campaign but had reshaped the balance of power. Former empires, once arrogant and secure, now whispered fearfully across star systems. The Cinder Dominion's crystalline fleets were fractured. The Varkai outer reaches reeled from humiliating losses. Even the Clothy Ascendancy, a secretive empire that had ruled swaths of the galaxy for millennia, had lost more than half of its fleet in the failed strike on Earth. Humanity was no longer fighting for survival, it was defining the rules. Captain Ilara Vance stood aboard the USS Perseus, now orbiting the desert world of Varen Prime, a strategic hub for human expansion. Her bridge was a hive of activity as communications, tactical data, and fleet movements were analyzed in real time. Admiral Hiro Tanaka pointed at the holomap, tracing the fractured fleets of the Cinder and their allies. We have them spread thin across multiple systems. They're desperate, trying to consolidate forces. Ilara's eyes narrowed. Good. Let them try. Every movement they make is predictable because they think like every other alien species. Humans think differently. We adapt. Below, on Varen Prime, human engineers were at work constructing orbital defense platforms and hyperlight relay stations, using salvaged alien technology fused with human ingenuity. Humanity's industrial capacity, once limited to Earth, now spanned multiple star systems. Every colony, every outpost became a force multiplier. In the shadows of galactic politics, alien races debated their next moves. Some urged diplomacy, others vengeance. The Cinder High Council, fractured by internal blame and fear, could not agree. High Observer Thralis argued for a full-scale strike against Earth, but many counselors feared that even their combined fleets would falter against the humans' adaptability. The Varkai, normally patient and inscrutable, were losing their composure. Their spies, once everywhere, were outmaneuvered by humans who seemed always one step ahead, anticipating their moves with uncanny precision. Amid the political chaos, Ambassador Kyra Thorne convened a galactic summit, not of enemies but of observers. Representatives of neutral powers gathered on the human station Haven 9, orbiting a neutral gas giant. Kyra addressed the assembly. Humanity has been underestimated for millennia, she said. We survived countless threats because we do not rely solely on strength or numbers. We rely on ingenuity, adaptability, and the will to endure. Those who seek to dominate us will find themselves outmatched, not by force alone, but by the essence of who we are. A Cinder delegate's crystalline eyes glimmered with unease. You speak boldly. But even humans have limits. Kyra's smile was calm, precise. Perhaps. But you have yet to see the full measure of humanity. We do not merely react. We plan, predict, and transform adversity into advantage. That is why the galaxy will remember this day. Meanwhile, Captain Ilara Vance led a bold maneuver against a key Cinder supply route near the nebula of Zithara 3. Using the nebula's dense plasma clouds as cover, human fleets executed a three-pronged strike that left enemy reinforcements scattered and crippled. Ships that had once been the pride of alien empires were now drifting wrecks, their crews taken or lost. Lieutenant Raj Malik, piloting a human destroyer, reported breathlessly over comms. The supply lines are gone. They won't regroup in time. Ilara's voice cut through the chaos, calm but sharp. Then we strike their next node. No pause. No hesitation. Every moment we wait, they might adapt. Move. Even as humans consolidated power, new threats emerged. Mercenary factions, emboldened by desperation or greed, attempted to destabilize human-controlled systems. But humans were prepared. Traps, decoys, and counterintelligence measures turned betrayal into opportunity. Entire mercenary fleets were captured, disarmed, and integrated into human strategy. In the midst of these victories, human diplomacy reshaped the galaxy. Neutral systems, impressed by the humans' precision and foresight, began forming alliances. Trade routes, once dangerous and contested, flourished under human supervision. Technology sharing, when carefully controlled, strengthened humanity's position while maintaining fear among potential aggressors. Yet humanity remained cautious. Victory had a cost. Each engagement demanded lives, each decision carried weight, and every colony had to balance growth with defense. Captain Ilara, standing on the bridge of the Perseus, often reflected quietly, "We've shown the galaxy what humans are capable of, but power without purpose is meaningless. We must remain vigilant. We must remain human." As the Galactic Summit concluded, whispers began to circulate. The era of dominance, once assumed by ancient empires, was over. Humans were no longer just survivors. They were apex, redefining strategy, politics, and war in ways the galaxy had never experienced. High Observer Thralis, watching these developments from the remnants of his fleet, finally spoke to his council. "We were warned. The universe warned us. Humanity, they are the species to fear. Every calculation we made, every plan, every fleet, has failed to contain them. And yet they have only begun." And so, humanity stood on the precipice of a new era. One not defined by mere survival but by mastery, of war, of politics, and of the galaxy itself. Allies and enemies alike had no choice but to acknowledge it. Humans were unstoppable not because they were the strongest but because they were uniquely, brilliantly human. The storm of the galaxy raged around them, but humans had learned to thrive in its eye. And they would not be denied. The galaxy held its breath. Humanity's rise had been swift, audacious, and unstoppable, but such success bred fear, and fear bred desperate measures. Across the star systems, the remnants of alien empires, the Cinder Dominion, the Varkai Outer Reaches, and the Clothy Ascendancy, formed a secret coalition. Their plan was simple: strike humanity at its heart before humans could consolidate power further. Earth itself became the target. Coordinated fleets, countless warships, and hidden fleets of mercenaries and assassins moved silently across the galaxy. Their goal? Annihilate humanity in one decisive blow. Captain Ilara Vance received the first reports aboard the USS Perseus. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned with intensity. "They've learned. They've coordinated. Every system we've built, every colony we've fortified, they plan to strike all at once." Admiral Hiro Tanaka leaned over the holomap, tracing hundreds of enemy vectors converging toward Seoul. If they succeed, they could wipe out billions before reinforcements arrive. This isn't just war, it's extinction level. Ilara's jaw tightened. Then they've underestimated humans, again. Across the Sol system, humanity's fleets mobilized. Every warship, every orbital station, every covert strike team prepared for the coming storm. But even as humans braced for the assault, betrayal struck from within. A faction of mercenaries, secretly bribed and manipulated by the coalition, attempted to disable critical defense satellites. Lieutenant Raj Malik reported the breach. "They're inside the grid. They're trying to shut down the planetary shields." Ilara's eyes narrowed. "Cut communications. Isolate their ships. deploy countermeasures, and get me every strike team ready. In a breathtaking display of ingenuity, human engineers reprogrammed the compromised satellites in minutes, turning the sabotage into an advantage. The false signals lured enemy fleets into a trap, where hidden human destroyers waited in gravitational slingshots, striking with precision and deadly efficiency. The first wave of attacks hit like a hurricane. Cinder dreadnoughts attempted orbital bombardments, Varkai strike fleets dropped behind the asteroid belt, and mercenary forces attacked from unexpected vectors. Space around Sol became a storm of fire, plasma, and explosions. Captain Alara Vance piloted the Perseus through the chaos. Focus on the flanks. Draw them into the nebula cloud. Every ship follows my maneuvers. Human tactics turn the tide. Using gravity wells, stealth technology, and intuitive maneuvers, they funneled the enemy fleets into kill zones. A dozen fleets that had expected to overwhelm humanity found themselves surrounded, disoriented, and annihilated. Yet even in victory the cost was heavy. Entire colonies were destroyed and countless lives lost. Humanity faced extinction, yet adapted, survived, and countered with brilliance. Amid the chaos, a shocking revelation emerged. One of the Cinder counselors, High Observer Thralis, had begun secretly questioning his allies. We cannot predict them. We cannot contain them. Perhaps we have misjudged everything. Thralis's hesitation led to a fracture within the coalition. Varkai generals accused him of treachery, the Clothy commanders questioned his loyalty, and chaos rippled through the enemy ranks. Humanity exploited this division ruthlessly. Feigned retreats, decoy transmissions, and surprise flanking attacks shattered the cohesion of the combined fleets. On the battlefield, Admiral Hiro Tanaka orchestrated a maneuver never attempted before. Using a synchronized series of warp jumps, human fleets appeared simultaneously at multiple enemy command points, disabling warships, communications, and supply lines in a single coordinated strike. Alien fleets collapsed in disarray, their chains of command broken beyond repair. Meanwhile, Ambassador Kyra Thorne broadcasted a warning to the galaxy. You thought humanity could be destroyed in a single strike. You thought we were weak, disorganized, and insignificant. You were wrong. We survive. We adapt. And we endure. Every attack only strengthens us. Every betrayal teaches us. Humanity is the species the universe was warned about. And we will not be denied. As the smoke cleared, the coalition fleets retreated in humiliation, leaving behind debris fields stretching for light years. Humanity had not only survived an extinction-level assault but had turned near defeat into a demonstration of apex capability. In the aftermath, Captain Alara Vance stood on the bridge of the Perseus, gazing at Earth in the distance. We were at the edge, she said softly. The galaxy tried to end us. They thought fear and force would be enough. But humans, we don't just survive. We rise. Admiral Tanaka placed a hand on her shoulder. And now the galaxy knows it. Every empire, every species, they will remember what they saw. Humanity is not to be underestimated. Across the stars the universe took notice. Where humans walked they left not just survival but a lesson. Adaptability, ingenuity, and willpower could triumph over any odds. Even in the face of annihilation, humanity had proven its apex nature. The storm of war had reached its peak. Humanity had faced extinction, betrayal, and the might of the galaxy's greatest powers, and emerged victorious. The universe had finally learned, humans were not just another species. They were unstoppable. And the final chapter of the galaxy's reckoning was about to begin. The galaxy was silent. For weeks, the remnants of the failed coalition had retreated to lick their wounds, to reassess the impossible, the humans. Humanity, battered but unbroken, had not only survived the largest coordinated assault in galactic history but had turned it into a demonstration of unmatched strategic brilliance. Captain Alara Vance stood on the bridge of the USS Perseus, now the command flagship of humanity's expanding armada. The stars stretched infinitely beyond the viewports, glittering against the darkness. Each point of light was a potential threat, but also a canvas for humanity's next move. Admiral Hiro Tanaka approached, calm but resolute. They're regrouping. Every major power in the galaxy is planning another strike. Perhaps multiple coordinated attacks. They cannot ignore humanity any longer. Alara's gaze did not waver. Let them come. Humans are not just survivors. We are apex. And the galaxy will remember why. But humanity's genius was not only in battle. It was in foresight, diplomacy, and unity. Ambassador Kyra Thorne had orchestrated a series of summit negotiations across neutral systems, creating alliances that alien powers could not anticipate. Neutral species now supplied intelligence, technology, and resources, tipping the scales even further in humanity's favor. Meanwhile, the alien empires, fractured and paranoid, began turning on one another. The Cinder blamed the Clothi for miscalculations, the Varkai accused Cinder treachery, and mercenary factions fled before the rising tide of human dominance. Humanity exploited these divisions with precision. Diplomatic pressure, strategic strikes, and controlled demonstrations of overwhelming power ensured that no unified front could challenge them. The climax came in the Zithra Nebula, a dense cluster of gas clouds, asteroid fields, and gravitational anomalies, a natural choke point for fleets. The last remnants of the coalition, desperate for redemption, gathered there, hoping to crush humanity once and for all. Ilara addressed the assembled human commanders. "This is the final test. The galaxy has underestimated us for the last time. Today we show them what it means to face humans." Admiral Tanaka nodded. "Every maneuver we've perfected, every tactic we've learned, it comes together here. We do not fight blindly. We fight with vision." The battle began. Alien fleets surged, confident in their numerical superiority. But humans had anticipated every movement. Cloaked strike groups emerged from unexpected angles, asteroid fields became traps, and gravity anomalies were weaponized to tear through enemy formations. Captain Lyra Chen, piloting a human destroyer, communicated with precision. "Vector Delta, engage. Vector Epsilon, flank their flagship. All units, follow Perseus' lead." The USS Perseus led a daring maneuver, splitting its fleet into multiple warp shadows. Simultaneously, human strike teams appeared at critical points. Supply nodes exploded, command ships were disabled, and fleets found themselves isolated, helpless against coordinated precision strikes. Even the Cinder flagship, a vessel of immense size and firepower, could not withstand the ingenuity of humans. Ilara led a squadron directly into the heart of the enemy formation, using gravitational slingshots and precise timing to disable its main reactors. The flagship disintegrated in a cascade of crystalline shards, and with it, the morale of the last coalition forces shattered. In the aftermath, the human armada held the nebula. Alien commanders, forced to surrender or retreat, witnessed the full scope of humanity's rise. The galaxy had underestimated them. Humanity was not only resilient, it was dominant. High Observer Thralis, the last Cinder voice of reason among the ashes of his empire, observed humanity from a distant observation point. His crystalline face reflected the stars, his tone somber. "We were warned. We dismissed it. And now, humanity has rewritten the rules. They are not just survivors. They are apex. They are the species the universe feared." Back aboard the Perseus, Ilara gazed at the stars, her voice quiet but resolute. "The galaxy will remember this day. They will remember humans, not for their technology, not for their numbers, but for their will, their adaptability, and their refusal to be defeated." Admiral Tanaka smiled. "And now the future is ours to shape. Humanity will lead not by conquest, but by showing the galaxy what it means to endure, to innovate, and to rise above every challenge." As humanity consolidated its position, new alliances formed under their guidance, trade routes expanded, and former enemies became tentative allies. The galaxy began to look to humans not as a threat, but as the standard of excellence. A species capable of survival, ingenuity, and moral as well as tactical leadership. On Earth, the planet that had birthed this unstoppable species, people looked to the skies with awe. Children gazed at the stars, dreaming not just of survival but of exploration, understanding, and mastery. Humanity had proven that the impossible was attainable. And somewhere, across the distant reaches of the galaxy, civilizations that had once laughed at humanity whispered warnings to each other. "Do not underestimate them again. The humans are here. And they will endure." The galaxy had been reshaped. Humanity had survived annihilation, outmaneuvered the greatest powers, and emerged not just victorious but supreme. Humanity had become the apex species the universe had been warned about. And the stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter in recognition.